Welcome to your Daily Revolution podcast. Today's topic, dealing with the demons of depression once again. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Let's go! This is your Daily Revolution. Living prosperity, we show you how to do it. There's no luck about it, we got the strategic blueprint.
Hey, my friends, it's good to be with you guys today. Thank you so much for listening. I am so grateful to be able to shoot this podcast, and I'm so grateful for the demons and the dragons that I face around depression. And I guess it's called mental health, mental illness. I'm not sure what the language of today is, but for me, it's always been a constant battle. So I'm going to dive in and share what's real and raw in my heart today. And if I get a little emotional, just know it's where I'm at right now. So it's amazing. I'm in Utah right now for the summer, so I'll keep referencing that so you understand the context. And I grew up here. Right. This is my neighborhood. I went to high school here in Utah County. I went to Brigham Young University. I was here until about 2015. And then we moved to California for 6 incredible years. And every time I come back home to Utah, I see the mountains, beautiful mountains. I see all the people that I know and recognize me, and I recognize them. And there's always a feeling of, I'm going to try to find the right words here to be this concise and just articulate what I'm really feeling. Feelings of sadness, almost depression. And I get this on holidays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, my birthday, which is in a month, family members' birthdays. And, you know, the initial part of me is like, I don't know why I feel this way. Well, I'm going to dive in and talk about depression for just a moment. Well, this is not to get you to feel sorry for me. No, this is to get you to learn something and to see something for you that can really make a difference in your life. You see, you understand this. Growing up, I used to hear people say I'm depressed, and the only thing I knew was, well, have you prayed? And I would just say, well, just pray and trust God. And I would say, just pray and trust God. And then I hit a point in time where, and I'm going to preface this, I believe 100% in the power of prayer, and I believe in God, 100%. But there's a time where it was so deep, right? This depression and this comparing myself to other people and feeling inadequate and afraid of that I may never live up to the pressure and what was around me. And I'd have you know that if you go through this, it's okay. Like, just hear my voice on this. It's okay. It's okay. Listen, I live an amazing life. I have a great lifestyle, a beautiful goddess who I love, 3 amazing sons. They are so incredible. My sons are going to be better than me. There's no question about it. No doubt about it. Bigger, faster, stronger than me. I hope they just are better than me across the board. And got an amazing team at home back in Florida. And I'm telling you right now, I still have these days where I have extreme doubt and extreme depression, where I cannot think clearly and I cannot see clearly. And the doubt is so thick that, like, I feel confused and in a daze all day. And it takes everything inside of me to just push. And here I am. I have clients that I serve and a team that I lead and a family that I have stewardship and I preside over with love and leadership. And there are times in my life where I just don't know how to, like, it is hard. Now, the beautiful thing about being in 2022, I'm 46. I've been around this long enough to recognize that when I go through this, I'm like, oh, it's this. And I'm like, it's the dragon. Let's give it a name. It's the dragon, or it's the demon. It's the depression thing. And listen to me. I have nothing about it anymore. When I was in my 20s, I was like, there's something effing wrong with me. Like, there's something wrong with me. And I could never figure out what was wrong with me. And I just was like, something is wrong with Setema. And I hated myself for it because I didn't have words to put on what I was feeling. I'm supposed to be big and strong, and I'm supposed to be a leader. And, just why don't you have enough faith, Setema? Just have faith in God. And, what's wrong with you? And I went through this thing. And it took some work, but I figured it out. Like, And I'm going to share with that what I figured out so it can help those of you who face this. When someone says they're depressed, I get it. I really do, because I've gone through it myself. And I want to share with you some things today that have really given me strength and courage, really given me power to deal with these things, so that I have a blueprint and a roadmap to help you guys deal with it if you face depression in your life, where, again, I look at my body and I'm like, there's just days where I'm like, dude, I'm freaking fat and I'm freaking out of shape. Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? And my wife will look at me like, are you okay? I think it's called body dysmorphia. There are days where I look online and I see people on social media. I'm like, dude, I'm not that good. And I go into comparison mode. It's wild the way that my depression manifested. Because even on my birthdays, I used to hate my birthdays so bad. I just was not happy. But I want to share with you really some things that have made a huge difference for me. And I'm hoping that they'll make a big difference for you. And I just ask that you really listen with your heart and your soul. Number one, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. I mean that. There's nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you. If you have feelings of suicide or depression, or you feel like you're not good enough, you feel like you're not measuring up, guess what? There's nothing wrong with you. You're a human being. I'm a human being. We are allowed to have thoughts. That's all they are, is thoughts. So it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. Like, that's the first thing. There's nothing wrong with you. Because the moment you go into this thing like, there's something wrong with me, then there's something wrong with you. And now you're wrong. And now guilt and shame flow into your life like a river. And you can't stop it because there's something wrong with you, because you shouldn't be feeling this way. Look at how blessed you are. You should be just fine. Why do you feel that way? Listen, I have no idea. But I do know that there's nothing wrong with us. It's just being human. It's okay. Okay. That's the first thing. I want you to say it out loud. There's nothing wrong with me. Say it. There's nothing wrong with me. It's okay. Like, it's part of being a human. We have emotions and feelings and crazy experiences with hormones and dopamine and serotonin and epinephrine and adrenaline and sleep and sugar and caffeine. And for those who are, alcohol and take recreational drugs, there's all kinds of things that change our body and the chemistry makeup. So it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. First thing. Second thing, start asking questions. And there's very non-productive, non-workable, unuseful questions, such as, why is this happening to me? And I can tell you right now, that is not an effective question. The real question to ask is, what am I feeling? What's the thought that's causing me to feel this? Or what are the experiences that have led me here? And again, if you just pull 2 all-nighters and you're sucking down a ton of alcohol or caffeine and you haven't got no sleep, well, listen, there's going to be some type of crash and consequence for that. So that's why I said, what am I feeling? How did I get here? What have I been doing in the last 7 to 10 days that's maybe caused some of this? And if nothing has, then it's okay. But the critical question to ask is, what's the thought that I'm having and believing that's caused me to feel this way? Like, if you can do that, question and ask, if you can do that, you're farther ahead than most people. What's the thought or story that I'm believing to be true that's causing me to feel this way? One of the thoughts that I have is, I shouldn't be feeling this way. I shouldn't be feeling this way. But the fact is that I am feeling that way. And I just need to embrace that I'm feeling that and that it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. Again, right? Number one, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm okay. There's nothing bad about feeling this way. Sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes I don't feel the happiest. It's okay. Number 2, ask the questions. What's the root cause of this? What am I believing what am I believing that's not true that's causing me to feel this way? What got me here? Right, so number 2, just start asking these questions. Now, the third thing is going to be big. Third thing is, write it down. There's something about writing things down that puts it on the table and kind of almost makes it like, oh, well, that's not that bad. What I mean by that is I remember in 2008 when we were losing everything. Homes getting foreclosed, cars getting repossessed. I couldn't stop it. There's nothing I could have done to stop it. It was like inevitable. And I was freaking out. Like I could not stop freaking out. I was stressed. I was like, maybe I just need to turn the cars on in the garage and take my life. It was crazy. I was like, whoa, this is wild that I'm having these thoughts. And I remember one of my mentors, Steve D'Annunzio, says, hey, I want you to write. And it's crazy. I paid Steve $10,000 while we were losing everything. I was like, well, we're losing everything. And this $10,000 ain't going to help. So I'm just going to pay a mentor to coach me up and help me get through this next few months. So I paid him. And he says, you know, Setema, that's kind of how he talked. You know, Setema, if you put it down on paper, I think you're going to be surprised to find out that it's just not as bad as you're making it out to be. And the question that he had me write down was, what does that mean? So write that down. What does that mean? So he's like, well, what's happening? Well, I'm losing my house and everything. Well, what does that mean? And I went to write, and in my mind, it was this just megalodon, Tyrannosaurus Rex, Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger, Jason, Halloween. It was this monster that was so frightening. And when I wrote it down, what does that mean? I said, it means that I'm going to lose everything. And he said, okay, so what does that mean? And I tried to write, and I started to write, well, it means that I'm a failure. And he said, now here we go, right? Ready for the question? Is that true? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I think so. And you're such a great coach. Does it really mean that you're a failure, or what does it really mean? And he said, write it down. So I'm like, right, what does it mean if I lose everything? And I'm like, it means that I'm a failure. It means that I'm a loser. That's not what it means. It means, and then I ended up writing in big letters, Nothinng. It means nothing. Like I was completely making up a meaning. I was attaching a story or a meaning. I was making up a meaning. You see, when I'm in depression mode, when the dragon is surrounding me, it's easy to make up a meaning. Something's wrong with me. I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. And I know people who go down the rabbit hole and who go down a downward spiral, and they end up in the docks of hell, and they're not even in hell, but they get themselves there. And the human brain's a funny thing. We can actually put ourselves in a situation mentally to where it's so real. Our heart rate elevates. We get sweaty. We go into fight, flight, or freeze mode. And it's very unproductive. So my mentor back in 2008 is like, what does it mean? I'm like, it just means that I'm losing everything. What does that mean? It means that I wasn't prepared. Okay, what does not being prepared mean? It means I didn't prepare. Okay, what does that mean? That I wasn't prepared. He's like, yeah. Does it mean that it's the end of the world? No. Does it mean that you're going to be thrown in jail? I mean, maybe not. No. He's like, yeah, no, it doesn't mean that. It just means what? And human beings attach so much meaning to things that aren't even true. So that's the first things I want to share with you on the podcast today. I don't want to have this get too long, but I just want you to know there's nothing wrong with you. It's okay. Number 2, start asking some questions. Just ask the questions that get you to see something you can't see. And number 3, write things down. What does it mean? What does that even mean? Write that question out and then write your answers down. If you can do that just to get started, I'll share one more thing, and then I'll probably shoot another podcast about some other things that have helped with depression. That was always the first thing that got me going. The final thing was I would just take my focus off of me and my sadness, and I would go serve someone. Like I would just go focus on my sons and on my wife. I would just focus on my parents. I'd pick up the phone and I'd call someone that needed help. I'd go visit. There's always some older folks in our church. I'd go drop off some food to them. I'd text one of my nieces, and I'd just like, who needs something? Who needs money? Who needs me to drop some food? I just would go on the mission like a heat-seeking missile, but it was like a service-oriented missile. I'm going to go serve people. And look, if you'll just go focus on other people for a little bit, it may not solve all of it, but it'll really bring some gratitude and joy into your life, because it's amazing when we take our focus off of our problems and we focus on serving other people, how much that can alleviate It can alleviate, it can emancipate, it can evaporate. Let's see what other E words I can come up with that rhyme. Right? And it's amazing. So those are some things that I do that help me through depression. Yeah, of course, move your body, exercise. Maybe you need some sleep, get some good food in you, talk to a counselor, talk to a therapist, talk to a coach, go for a long hike, pray. Like there's a ton of things you can do, but I wanted to give you some of the meat and the potatoes of what I do that just get me to see it differently so that I can feel differently, so that I can course correct and reset and get realigned as sooner than later. This is your boy, Setema Gali, coming to you from Utah, letting you know that if you need help, please reach out to someone. Please, if you are considering taking your life, don't do it. Please don't do it. I'm here. There's other people that could use your help. Reach out to me or my team. Send me an email. Send me a direct message. There's hotlines out there. It's not worth it. I know that the adversary and the opposition can really, really, really want you to do things that would harm yourself and take away from your family and loved ones, but it's not worth it. I love you guys. I appreciate you listening. Thank you so much for being a part of my world. I hope you guys have the most amazing day today and slay the dragon. And sometimes you're going to have to slay that dragon every single day. And I appreciate you guys. There's nothing wrong with you. Ask the questions. Write it down. Go serve someone. And if it makes you feel any better, this big guy over here, the 6'4", 300-pound dude, I still have those days. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with me. I just know it's one of those days. All right, let me see how fast I can reset and learn from this. And then I move on and I come out of it and I'm like, cool. All right, that was great. I learned something. Let's move on. If this has been helpful, please tag someone, tag me, share it with someone, post it on social media, and let me know you hear me. Love you guys enough.
Let's go! This is your daily revolution. Live in prosperity, we show you how to do it. There's no luck about it, we got the strategic blueprint. This is your daily revolution. You already know. And if you don't, then check my resume. Turning pressure into possibilities every day. Y'all can win and live our unique purpose. We change our mindsets and put the work in. This is your daily revolution. Your daily revolution. Revolution. Your daily revolution podcast.